I just won silver place in this month's AAA Hobbies Box Stock race. So it's been a while since I raced. It's been like 3 months. The last time I was at Hobbytown's race. So I entered Voltron, and what I did was nothing short of amazing, I think, especially since I haven't been racing for a while now. And based on the track itself, I noticed that it's not a track that is very 3D, so it was more or less a flat track, so I was able to basically remove the brake from the car. And I was also able to remove another part of the car too, to get this car down to 80 grams. Yes, that's right, 80 grams. The normal version of this car, with everything on it, 84 grams. And this is everything that's in the box stock kit, 80 grams. How did I do this? What is that secret part that I removed? It's the battery cover. The battery cover weighs a little bit too. So if you remove that, you find out that you don't really need that in this particular car, especially on a relatively flat course. If you had a lot of bumps and such, then you might worry about the batteries popping out, jumping out. But on this particular course, there's like one dragon back and some angular turns, but they didn't really affect the batteries jumping out. It was basically that one dragon back, and so you had to just worry about that. I also swapped, as you see, the front and rear rollers, and this allows me to get better grip on corners with the rear rollers up front. So yeah, this is like a speed car all the way. However, in the final race, I was able to basically secure the pole position with this car because it just flat out beat everybody. But in the final race, one of my rivals was able to beat me in the race by a little more than a car length. And yeah, his car was a little bit faster than mine on straightaways. Mine was pretty fast around turns. And so in the final race, I didn't have the best drop. I dropped the car and it was not as good as I had hoped it would be. If I had raced ahead of everybody in the beginning, I think I would have gotten a better result. But what ended up happening was, in that final lap, I was able to overtake my rival. And yeah, a lot of people were cheering me on, but in the very end, a couple of bad turns and suddenly, straightaways. It's the straightaways where I really didn't fare as well as my competitor, and so he ended up beating me by a car length and a half. Yeah, it's a shame. I should have won the whole thing, but yeah, it was a good race. It was a very good race, and I don't have any complaints about it because it was a good race. So yeah, this is a really fast car. Mach frame is ultra cool. I would say that if you have a good eye for detail and you build this according to the specifications in the manual that's included with it, and you make sure that all of the parts are deburred just right and oiled, well oiled just right, and you do the little custom modifications that I just suggested, you're going to have a very competitive car here, this Mach frame. So it's pretty cool. And also, I would say try to stay away from as much paint as possible because paint does add a little bit of weight to your car. I only painted this to be red because I wanted an accent on this car. I could have kept it all white. I've seen Mach frames where it's just entirely a white car, kind of like blah. But I wanted to make it into something a little more, I'll call it spiffy. So yeah, I like the red and white colors, and that's why I'm calling it Voltron from now on. So if you look at it from here, you can see the face of a robot, the eyes and the long nose, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I love this car. It's awesome. So my son races the gold and blue and black Mach frame. Now, for the Tune class races, I entered Kogo, and this car is a speed demon. Like, this weighs a bit more than other cars, but even with the additional weights, even with the block weight in the back and the side weights here that are pretty heavy, it still fared really well. In fact, this was one of the fastest, if not the fastest car in amongst all 30 competitors. It was that fast. However, I was supposed to secure a pole position with this one also, but in the final semifinal qualifying race, I coursed out. And then I attempted again and one more time for the second and third qualifying spots, and I coursed out at the end of each semifinal. It was a shame because this was so much faster than everybody else. But remember, speed does not win races here, right? It's not about speed, it's about keeping your car on the track. Anybody can put a really fast engine in their car and make their car like super, super fast, and they can make their car as light as possible and make it super, super fast. But the trick is, can you make it fast and keep it on the road at the same time? So how did I keep this on the track as best as possible? It's with the additional weights, these side weights that I didn't have before, and the block weight, which keeps it nice and heavy and true. And I made sure that everything here was spinning totally freely. This is like an almost infinite kind of spinning ability here, and the bottom ones were good too. And these rubber gripped 1213s, I love the 1213 rubber grips because they just hug the corners so well. And if you recall, this is from the Wild Mini 4-wheel drive kits. This happens to be, what is it, a pinion pusher? Yeah, and I'm using these as basically stabilizers, and they work quite well. And you know what? They're a little wobbly, but that's okay. They grip onto the sides of the track really well. So I actually recommend these highly. I even put weights in the front, and of course, my world-famous dragon tail. Yeah. Now, what was causing me to course out at the very end, you might ask? My gut feeling, and from what I've seen and witnessed and experienced today, was the fact that this tape kept on coming off of my dragon tail. So I need to secure it down in a different way, a little bit better than what happened today, because this was doing very well in the beginning of the races. And then towards the end, on the final, semi-final races, this was just course out for whatever reason. It was crazy because this was blowing by everybody. This was ahead of everybody else. That final lap was when it would course out, and it was so frustrating. But you know what? That's okay, because I got to see the speed demon at play. I had tested this to be 30,000 RPM with an atomic tune motor, which is really fast. Now, let me explain to you a little bit about motors that you get in box stock kits and additional motors that you purchase. Now, a lot of people may think that they're high and mighty because they can tune a motor to be this much speed and stuff, but there also is, what most people don't realize, is there's also variances, different tolerances in the manufacturing process. So just because your motor is like so blindingly faster than somebody else's motor doesn't mean that you really tuned it better and that you're a better tuner than someone else. All it means is you happen to luckily get the faster motor than your counterparts did. That's all it means. It's like a Cracker Jack box. You sometimes get the plastic ring, sometimes you don't. You don't know what you're getting when you purchase a box stock kit. You don't know what you're getting when you get those additional motors as well as a separate purchase. You just know that you are getting a motor that's supposed to be within the specified ranges of speed that that motor possesses. So if you look at the back of a motor packaging, it tells you the low end and the high end. And you're going to get something in between those two. You can probably coax it to get a little bit more than the high end, but there is a chance that you will get a motor that will be a little bit below the low end. And that's a shame, but that happens. And what do you do with those motors? You can just use them, you can throw them out, you can discard them, but no, why waste a good motor? You can use it for other purposes. You can use it for testing out cars, for example. Just testing them with a spare motor. You don't have to use it in an actual race. But just keep that in mind. Just because you spent $3.30 or whatever the motor costs of your hard-earned money for an atomic tuned or a torque tuned or rev tuned motor. Oh, stay away from rev tuned motors. So just because you paid $3.30 of your hard-earned money for those motors does not mean that you're getting a motor of super awesome quality. There is no quality check for the motors here. I'm sure there's like some minimal quality check, but you're not going to get like a, as someone called it, a blueprinted motor each time. So yeah, it's a shame. So yeah, I won prizes for this car here. I won a kit, a new kit. I got to select a Shooting Proud Star for my son, so he likes that car. And I got an oil pen, and I got Tamiya tape, and I also got a gift certificate to buy more things from the store. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, AAA Hobbies has some really good prizes. So until next time, everybody, see ya. Bye.